I brought 30 plus agency owners in a room to show them the future of AI and how to leverage it to make more money than ever before. Right now, we are seeing the biggest business transformation since the internet, and I've used it to scale my own AI agency to well over 6 figures per month. And in the next hour, I'm going to show you the 3 phases of the AI revolution, which agency models will survive the transition, the exact services that are going to be in the highest demand, and the step-by-step blueprint to position yourself as the go-to AI authority in your area to capitalize before the market catches on. I have made over $2.7 million in just a couple few years, and I'm about to show you guys why all of that might be completely irrelevant. In the next 45 minutes, you'll see the single biggest threat and opportunity of our entire lifetimes. It starts with the $2 trillion question that every business owner must answer. Will AI disrupt my business? AI is about to be absolutely brutal. Entire industries are going to be wiped out overnight, just like that. To understand the future and where AI is headed, we first need to look back to the past. During the industrialization era, work changed forever as big machines entered into the market, which is the most comparable point in history relative to what we're experiencing today. This created a massive opportunity, right? But only for the ones that chose the right strategy. If we look at the richest people in all time, they all share the same thing. Vanderbilt had railroads, Carnegie had steel, Rockefeller had oil. They didn't just pick winning industries. They picked the exact moment when old industries died and new ones were born. And we are facing that same change here today. So you see, back then in the industrialization era, people were really worried that machines would take their jobs. Kind of similar to what we're experiencing now, right? You had people striking, people protesting because they were worried what these machines were going to do to their employees. Instead, actually, old jobs became new jobs. So while their jobs were replaced with machines, these people still had new jobs because they had to operate these machines. So it really ended up evening out. Now the thing is, this time it's different. Industrialization created more jobs, but AI is just eliminating them. It's really scary. 300 million jobs will be wiped out, and maybe 10% will actually get replaced. So industrialization era, millions of jobs were wiped out, and they were replaced with millions more. But in AI, 300 million jobs are replaced by AI, but we do not see the same thing happening where the new jobs will be created. Maybe 5-10% of them. So while the industrialization revolution replaced human muscle with AI and machines, right? AI will really replace human minds. So your grandfather lost his job to a machine, and then he learned how to operate it. But people will lose their jobs to AI, but there won't really be an AI to operate because AI can operate itself. So this is a scary thing, and I really want you guys to understand how powerful this is and what we're about to experience over the next couple years. So we need to predict the future of AI because like Carnegie, like Rockefeller, like Vanderbilt, they saw into the future as these big complexes died and new ones were born. They were able to predict the future and see the right strategy. So to predict the future, we need to first understand where we're at right now. There's 3 stages of AI and artificial intelligence. The first stage of AI is predictive AI. So this is your LLMs, your ChatGPT, your Claude, your Gemini. This is predictive AI. If you guys don't know what predictive AI is, essentially your LLM works with certain words in a key order and it predicts what words will come next. That's how it answers questions. So if you say, what is 2 plus 2? It can predict that 4 is going to come next. The next stage is agentic AI. So we can have all of the predictive knowledge, but then the AI can actually go and apply this knowledge to do certain things like executing on software, executing on tasks, etc. The third and probably biggest stage of AI is physical AI. This one's going to be really interesting. So this is when predictive and agentic come into the real world. You guys have probably seen the Neo robots that came out a couple weeks ago, or the Tesla robots. Think of the physical AI as essentially these robots that are going to be able to move the physical world with this robotics and technology. So we have predictive, agentic, and physical AI. And right now, we are at about stage 1.5, right? Think about it this way. Stage 1 predictive AI is AI that thinks. Your LLM, your ChatGPT, it thinks as to what's going to come next. Stage 2 is AI that acts. This is agentic AI, so it can take that knowledge and act on it. And then stage 3 is AI that builds. And again, right now, we're on about stage 1.5, which I feel like is where most of us have the opportunity progressing into agentic AI. So stage 1 was again about AI that thinks. Stage 2 was about AI that acts, and stage 3 is about AI that builds. Now, this is the last moment I feel where humans still have an advantage. Because when true agentic AI comes into place, and 90% of these VAs and low-level entry jobs are replaced, and then you have the robotics and technology where all the physical labor is replaced, it's going to create an interesting dynamic in the economy. So, success in the AI revolution really comes down to one key word that I've been preaching from the beginning, which is strategy. Choosing the right strategy is the most important thing that you can possibly do. I saw a McKinsey study that looked at the top Fortune 500 companies. They analyzed their highest level CEOs, and they went to them and said, what are you predominantly focused on? What do you think about the most? What do you value as the highest value task that you could be performing? And they all agreed that it's some version of strategy. Choosing the right strategy for marketing, choosing the right strategy for sales, choosing the right strategy for operations and fulfillment. And you guys have seen me from day one of AI. From the moment I started the AI program, I preached choosing the right strategy. All these AI automation gurus are telling you, yeah, just sell like 50 different things to 100 different people, right? But we want to choose what's the most effective way for me to actually introduce this AI. You see, Alexander the Great conquered the entire world by the time he was 33 years old, not because he had the biggest army, not because he had the most skilled army, not because he had the most resources, because he had the right strategy. Napoleon Bonaparte dominated all of Europe, was able to do things that took other people thousands of years to do, overthrow governments overnight because he had the right strategy. You see, today's battlefield is AI and artificial intelligence. And your strategy will determine whether you're going to be the conqueror or you're going to be conquered, right? The people that will guess the future correctly will make millions, and the ones who guess wrong will be absolutely wiped out. So let's get into the future of the agency. See, the agencies that survive, I predict, will not sell ads. They'll sell an AI that creates those ads. This is where we are headed, and this is very important for you to understand. Now, I'm not going to tell you in this conversation to change up your entire business model overnight. You guys obviously have some things that are working, but it's very important to understand where the future of AI is headed. You see, most agencies right now are selling their time. An agency is just a service-based business. You use contractor arbitrage, charge $2,000 a month, pay a team member $1,000 a month to deliver on that service. Smart agencies will sell systems. So they have marketing systems, sales systems, operations systems. But what AI agencies are selling is their intelligence, which is very interesting to think about. So if you want to win the game of marketing in 2025, you need to produce 11 times more creative than your competition. This is probably the most important thing that I can stress to you. Guys, AI has made it 10 times easier than ever to produce AI creative at scale. But this is going to win. Think about it for a second. How many ads did I produce last month? Do you think that the person that does 10 times more ads than how many you produced last month is going to beat you at the marketing game? Most likely, yes. So you need to produce 11 times more creative than your competition. This is a direct stat that's gone online, very viral. Alex Hormozi talks about this as well. So what you need to be absolutely obsessed with is how do I produce as much creative as possible? And here's a few tactics. So we start with the two biggest implementations I'm seeing for AI creative at scale, which right now is VO3. We use VO3 for the video generation. A lot of you guys have been in the program. You've seen me talk about those specific implementations. I have video modules on that. But right now what I'm seeing as the easiest flow for me is using VO3 to produce a lot of hooks, body copies, really quickly, taking that, downloading it, tossing it into Submagic or some other captions tool that'll make the captions, right? So instantaneously in like an hour with VO3 and Submagic, I can produce 50 plus ads, right? This is really big. You guys saw me do this right when VO3 came out. Within 24 hours,
I had edited and launched an ad entirely in VO3 that cut my lead costs in half. In half, guys. And I'm a really good marketer. I can do some pretty good ads, right? And it's insane how crazy these AI tools are gonna get. So right now, my two biggest implementations are VO3 and SubMagic, and then HeyGen for UGC. So this is like your talking head, direct response style videos, especially ecom. This is insanely effective when you have HeyGen. Captions AI, SubMagic, Arc ads are all really a wrapper of HeyGen. So you want to use HeyGen for your kind of talking head style videos. You can also use UGC in VO3. I'm a big VO3 guy, so it's nice to test a few different softwares, right? So VO3 and SubMagic, and then HeyGen for UGC. Now here's something I'm gonna say too, when we come into creative, yes, we can have those AI take over the creative, but the biggest thing is we need the ideation behind it. Because AI, if you just go into ChatGPT, write me a killer ad, it's not gonna be able to really do that, right? So every single script that you write should be done in Poppy AI, I believe, right now. If you do not have Poppy, you guys are in this room, you're a little bit more advanced, get Poppy, right? Use my affiliate code, give me that 25 bucks, you know what I'm saying? But seriously, I don't have an affiliate code because I don't care. I'm friends with the founder of Poppy, but every single script that you see of mine right now is being run through Poppy AI. And the reason why I like Poppy so much is because if you go into ChatGPT and you say, write me an ad, write me a VSL, write me an email, it's not gonna have the context behind it, which I'll talk about a little bit later in this call. So with Poppy, every single time, you guys are gonna run multiple ads, you're gonna film multiple VSLs, you're gonna write multiple emails. So every single piece of copy in your business, I believe, needs to have a Poppy board attached to it. Raise your hand if you're using Poppy in this room. Dang, I've done you guys a disgrace. So this is extremely important. Poppy, if you guys don't know, it's kind of like Miro board plus your favorite LLM. So you can give it all the context of, hey, here's my best performing ads, here's my life story, here's a document outlining my offer, and then now write me an ad so you get better context. But you guys should have an ad, a VSL, emails, and pretty much every piece of copy should be in a Poppy board so you can produce it at scale. And this makes it really easy because I can produce hundreds of AI scripts almost instantaneously, then pop them into a teleprompter and have tons of ads and just rip through. So every bit of copy needs to be through Poppy AI. If you don't want to pay the $500 a year, which you should, you can use ChatGPT, but it just takes more context. You have to train it every single time, which is annoying, right? But again, the first to automate good AI ads at scale will win marketing. Here's the key word: automate. I've been obsessed with this for a long time. How do I take the VO3 and SubMagic, the Poppy scripts, and produce that AI creative at scale almost automatically? And it's very interesting to note, the first person who's gonna crack it is going to be absolutely insane. So this means creating a sync, right? Right now there's a delay factor. So you want to create a sync essentially between Facebook ads data to track your best performers, be able to look at, hey, these are my best performing ads, feed that data into your AI, and then you are able to analyze the best Facebook ads in the ads library themselves and produce a ton of variants. So the biggest thing that I see with AI is it, again, does not have that context behind it. It doesn't understand, hey, these are my best performing ads of all time. These are the best performing ads in the ads library, so this is what my competitors are running. Now produce me variations of those two. And that's where it's gonna be really, really important. And the first person that can automate this, which I have tried very aggressively, it's still a couple months away, but the first person that's gonna automate this process, where it produces good AI creative at scale, will win the marketing game, without a doubt. This is especially important in the new Andromeda update. Raise your hand if you're familiar with Meta Andromeda ads in the new update. I've been doing you guys a disservice. So, if you guys don't know, Meta Andromeda's update was essentially Facebook's response to the overwhelming amount of AI creative that came into the ads library. So before AI tools like ChatGPT, DALL-E, VO3, HeyGen, etc., there was a set number of creative. When the new AI tools came out, it literally 100x'd the amount of ads going through the Facebook library. So Facebook had to redesign their algorithm to be able to handle that much volume of ads coming into their ecosystem. And this is actually a really good positive for us because basically Facebook is getting really good at understanding what ads are resonating with our market types, what ads are hitting their problems and pain points that they're attacking, and really optimizing quickly. So the best angles will win. So this is what I'm talking about, I'm focused on with Andromeda, is we need angles. This is where I see like an angle could be a here in my garage ad, it could be a talking head ad, it could be a hey, what do you do for a living, stopping them on a street style ad. Just a lot of dynamic angles at scale. This is what I'm absolutely obsessed with. It's not so much just 100 hooks and 2 body copies like it used to be a couple years ago. It's how can I have multiple diverse angles at scale. So more so than anything else, like your hooks and your bodies are really important, but I want to come in with unique angles. So before, you would see me like 2 years ago, I would come into this very studio and I would film 10 hooks, maybe 2 body copies. Right now, I'm focused on maybe a little bit less hooks and more body copies, but really diverse angles. So I might call out a problem they're experiencing on marketing. I might call out a problem they're experiencing on sales. I might call out a problem they're experiencing on fulfillment. This is extremely important to understand. And now with these diverse angles, you can actually hit different stages of awareness. So is anybody familiar with the 5 stages of awareness? Raise your hand if you've heard that one before. So Eugene Schwartz in Breakthrough Advertising essentially outlined the 5 stages of awareness. So there's different levels of how aware they are. Think of it kind of like a funnel. There's top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. There's people that, don't know that they have a problem. There's people that know that they have a problem. There's people that know that they have a problem and know a solution exists to their problem. And there's a person that knows they have a problem. There's a solution that exists and they know that products are available. And then there's the final one, which is people that understand that you have a product that solves they're product aware of your specific solution. So we want to hit multiple angles and multiple stages of awareness. This is really important to understand because the person that's going to win in the new Facebook Andromeda update is going to have creative diversity. So creative diversity is probably the most important thing that I can really integrate with you guys. Most of the times you guys film one ad, talking head to the camera, then you post it to Facebook. That's not going to fly. There's advertisers like me testing hundreds of ad creative every single month. There's people even bigger than me, especially the e-commerce guys. I see e-commerce agencies cranking out thousands of ads a month. Thousands. Who do you think is going to win? The person that's doing 1,000 reps or the person that's doing like 10 reps a month? Obviously. So when it comes to creative diversity, why this is so important is Facebook understands that your ads will fatigue faster if you have the same style of ads. So if every ad style that I have is me sitting talking to a camera, right, it's going to fatigue fast. So if I have dynamic styles, maybe like a direct response, which is still going to be your bread and butter, right? You're talking head to camera. In the next 90 days, me and my team are going to come into your clinic. We're going to do X, Y, Z. That's still your main bread and butter. But what's coming up next too is also having some diversity. So you can have some UGC style, a selfie video. Hey guys, I just tried this product and solution with this agency. It was really useful for me. You might want to check them out if you have XYZ problem, right? UGC style. There's also selfie style too. So, you've seen like Levi, a coach in the group, runs this one that's pretty successful. But hey guys, I know I look pretty young, but if you're a roofer doing X amount of revenue per month, I would love to help you out. Click the link below, something like that, right? So your selfie style, your UGC, and then your AI ads. So AI ads will help a lot of you guys. You guys don't see me run too many AI ads with the coaching program because it's still depending on my face. But if I was running just an agency, right? If I was running just an agency by itself, I would run AI-driven ads as well too. So this is your VO3 predominantly. You can also use AI for the hooks and then cut to the human body. So a lot of guys have seen me do kind of a variation of that. But this allows you to just create so much volume and diversity and freshness. Because think about it with AI hooks, as you guys have seen, I could have a Yeti snowboarding, I could have Bigfoot in the forest, I could have aliens on a podcast. The craziest scenarios that would be impossible for me to film in a studio like this. So creative diversity wins. Now, coming forward into the future, we have ChatGPT ads dropping soon. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but I'm very excited. ChatGPT dropped about 20% of their payroll they've allocated towards taking the best people from Meta Ads, the guys that have literally created the Meta Ads algorithm, right, in-house to go and build ChatGPT ads. Because you think Facebook has data points on you? Think about the past year. You've told ChatGPT as your therapist, as your consultant, for some people, maybe even their significant other, their partner, right? So ChatGPT knows more about you than you would tell to Facebook. So right now, I think in the next couple months, it's going to be really important to prepare for ChatGPT ads, right? 3 years from now, we'll have full VR ads, and I can put my face in front of you guys as an unskippable 5-minute ad, and I'm very excited about that. There's no way you're getting around me. Another thing that I would focus on with ChatGPT, this is kind of interesting. I've seen a few people do this, but ChatGPT SEO is going to be really big. I called this one from the beginning, but people that can optimize their search engine around ChatGPT. Because think about it, with Atlas browser, with kind of everybody moving from Google into ChatGPT, I'm going to look for certain services inside of ChatGPT first. So why not optimize my listings for SEO specifically? It's going to be really interesting as well too. And I think there will be agencies all around just ChatGPT SEO. There will be ChatGPT ads agencies. So yes, Facebook might, convert into AI-driven ads, and AI can create the ads within Facebook Manager, and then we're all cooked. But there's still potential with ChatGPT SEO, and with the AI agents that we talk about. So this is probably the most important thing that I'm going to say when it comes to AI, which is context and the context advantage. I don't see a lot of people in AI talk about how important context is. And if I get one point across from you guys today, it's you need to feed your AI better context. The context will determine your result. So what I mean by context is AI is essentially only as smart as the data that you feed it. So you need to be absolutely obsessed with feeding AI everything. Feeding AI your calls, your wins, your losses, your failures, your numbers, your spreadsheets. Make AI the smartest person in the room relative to you. So you need to be absolutely obsessed with that context, right? So what you can do is, what we did is have a VA kind of pull all your past recordings. Go into Zoom, go into Fathom, your CS calls, your one-on-one calls, your onboarding calls, your launch calls, your sales calls, your team calls. Pull all of it. Aggregate that data, just have them copy essentially the transcripts into a Google Doc. Then now you gave it so much data. That data can refine SOPs. It will have better context on your business. It'll understand your problems as they're coming up. And then you can even automate this process, which I'll show you here in a second. But the biggest thing that I want to tell you guys is if you have a simple prompt, you will get a simple output. If you have a full context, you will have a much better output. For example, if I say, ChatGPT, write me an ad, probably going to get a crappy ad. Versus if I give it all the context of my offer, if I give it all of the context of the problems, the pain points that my target market is dealing with, it will get so much better context behind it. It will understand our solution, our problems, our pain points, and what we actually solve. So the biggest thing that I see too, in terms of context, is also prompting. So I'll give you guys a couple of my AI prompting hacks that will be really, really useful for you guys when you prompt an ad. So I never want you to go into ChatGPT anymore and say, hey, write me an ad. That's fucking lazy. Take one more step that I'll show you and you'll get way better results. So instead of going in and say, hey, write me an ad, I'll say this. Pretend you're a prompt engineer expert who is also a specialist in relative topic. Give me the best possible prompt to achieve goal, what I'm trying to achieve, and then also ask me any clarifying questions. So instead of, hey, write me an ad, pretend you're a prompt engineering expert who's a specialist in Facebook ads, copywriting, conversion optimization in this industry, and give me the best possible prompt to write me the highest converting ad for my target market. Then also ask me clarifying questions. You see, this will take you 2 more seconds to do, and you'll get a significantly better output. This is probably one of the biggest hacks I can tell you guys right now to implement. So when you say pretend you're a prompt engineer, what it's gonna do is it's gonna take another step. It's gonna write that complex prompt. And then once it does, and you've asked it any clarifying questions, you just say run prompt. And then now your output is significantly higher than what you would have gotten if you just said, write me an ad. And then the other thing that I wanna mention is ask me any clarifying questions. This is a really important thing that I don't see a lot of people do when it comes to AI. AI is optimized to give you the fastest answer quickly, right? It's not necessarily optimized to give you the best answer. With ChatGPT 5, they did optimize a little bit more for that, but it's still optimized to get it out quick. So I don't want a good answer. I want the best answer. So ask me any clarifying questions. And what it does is it'll ask you a few questions. I click record on the voice note. I answer those questions. And then my prompt has so much context. It's asked me any clarifying things. And then I get significantly better outputs. So that's huge. Now, getting into the operations side of things, I think this will be really interesting for a lot of you guys. You guys have seen me do a lot of ClickUp SOPs, really organizing my SOPs in ClickUp, but I've actually moved a lot of my SOPs to Google Docs. And what I'll do is I'll essentially have my marketing SOP, my sales SOP, my fulfillment SOP. Everything in sales in our company is on this one doc. And the reason is because I can hit File, Download, and then I can go in and paste that into ChatGPT and then ask it a question about my sales process. So it will instantaneously have the full context of that entire department right away. This is really important to understand, and I think it will be really effective for you guys to note. So operations, SOPs, sales, you essentially want to build out your main core SOPs in Google Docs, and then you can file download. If you have Atlas browser, it'll pull right in your tab, and then you can send them to LLM instantly. So again, how do I give my AI as much context as possible to deliver as effectively as possible? The other thing that I haven't seen anybody else really do is we want to automate the process around context to the AI. So what I'll do is I'll have AI summaries and data go into my Google Sheets. So this is an example of our sales data, right? We have our stats tracked. But I also have every single call will come in here, and we'll have like the prospect name, were they booked, what was the amount that was pitched, the call ranking, the status of the call, the reason for them saying yes or no, and then a summary, and then the recording link. So I can see a lot of data instantaneously. And then when you automate this process of giving your AI as much context as possible, which I'll also do for sales, I also have the recording transcript and the summary go into this sales doc that I showed you earlier. So all the sales doc now has all of my expectations, my offer, my stats, my onboarding process, my objection handling, my hot list, and now it has all the transcripts of my calls as well. I don't think you guys understand how valuable that is to getting good feedback. And then it goes into the sheets. So that's something really interesting that I've been focused on, which is how do I automate the process of context into my favorite LLMs? I want to get into probably one of the biggest innovations that we've seen over the past couple of months, and that's ChatGPT Atlas browser. I think a lot of people overlook this, or they might see that it's pretty cool, right? And God forbid, if you're still using Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, cough to somebody over there, right? It's extremely important that I feel like everybody should move to ChatGPT Atlas instantaneously. There's no question about it. Yes, there's other AI browsers, which I guess I'll explain this really quickly. If you guys don't know, ChatGPT Atlas is essentially ChatGPT's Google Chrome. It's their browser. Now, I'll tell you guys why this is so important in a second, but everybody in this room, do not leave this fucking event without switching to ChatGPT Atlas. I think it's that important. It is that important. Because Atlas browser would also allow you to basically replace your entire VA team and save you thousands of dollars a month. I literally told on Monday when this dropped, I told my team, get Atlas browser, understand it, or this will replace you. Every Filipino VA is about to get cooked off of this one, unfortunately, right? This will save you thousands. So Atlas browser, I believe, is probably the future of agentic AI. Because most normal people don't have the time, energy, capacity to go in N8N and build out these advanced automations, right? But Atlas browser is making agentic AI actually easy to use for most normal people. And that is significantly important to understand, right? And Atlas is the first use of agentic AI for the masses. If you really understand how important that is, you'll see what I'm talking about. But 99% of the time, you guys use your computers, you're probably using your browser. You're probably using your Docs, your Chrome, your Slack, whatever. You're probably using your browser. So when we talk about giving AI as much context as possible, what if I gave it 98% of the time I'm spending on my computer, I gave it all that data into my AI instantaneously, which is what you're doing. So Atlas will feed your entire browsing history, your tabs, and everything instantaneously. And then it automatically updates. So you don't even have to understand. Like, it's pulling all that data. Yes, it's scary. ChatGPT is going to know more about you than you know about yourself. It's going to be crazy. You guys aren't Pablo Escobar, you'll be all right. You're not committing crimes, you'll be okay. So Atlas will feed your entire browser history, your tabs, and everything instantly. So again, it will give the context. I could talk for an hour just on this one alone, but I use it for feedback live in any tab. So essentially what you can do is, like, you can have a Google Chrome window, and you can pull up a ChatGPT window right alongside it, and it will understand the context of everything you're pulling up in this tab. So if I go in and I watch a sales call recording and I say, hey, is my closer cooked? Sorry, Rob, ChatGPT says you're cooked. It says, and then it gives this data some feedback. I'm just kidding, I use this as an example, right? But this gives you live feedback. So you can pull up a call recording. Where did I mess up? Where did I mess up in this transcript? How could I perform better? You can pull up a stat sheet. How can I dial in these stats? What are the biggest KPIs I need to focus on, right? Anything in your window, you can instantaneously get ChatGPT to give you feedback on, rather than having to download everything and then giving it to AI, right? This is huge. And then, don't even get me started on agentic mode in GPT browser. So before, essentially Atlas, GPT didn't really have a way to connect everything together. So what Atlas browser is doing is it's connecting things together, which will help agentic AI really perform tasks for your life. So for example, ChatGPT didn't have your Google Gmail login. It didn't have your Drive folder. It didn't know your Airbnb history. So if you wanted to go and say, hey, book me a flight for this time at this place, book me an Airbnb, it didn't have all that data and context. But now that it controls your browser, it knows your entire browsing history, it knows everything that you've ever searched ever, it gets it a lot more dialed in. So the agentic AI is pretty cool. Now, ClickUp AI, for you guys that use ClickUp, we have the co-founder of ClickUp coming in a little bit later, and he's gonna talk probably a little bit more about that. So I'm not gonna go too much into that, but ClickUp AI and what they're doing with agentic AI is huge. All your project management needs to be moved to ClickUp. You guys know I'm a huge ClickUp guy, but this is gonna be huge. Chris has forced me to keep my tongue tied on this and not explain it publicly because they hadn't released it publicly yet, so I want to respect him. But ClickUp AI is going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be ridiculous because now they have all of your project management tasks. They know what you're needing to do within your business. Hey, create a sub account for this client. Hey, create an ad for this client. Send an email to this client. And then they can automate it with agents on top of that. It's gonna be really cool. So with sales too, we can still have sales call analyzers. We can have Atlas review our sales calls. And then the biggest thing with sales that I think is the most important is, again, feeding your stats and your docs back to ChatGPT. So I have all my stats tracked. I have all the recordings of every single call that happens in my entire company for sales, every intro and every demo, whether it closes or doesn't close, fed into a sheet in a Google Doc instantaneously. So I can literally ask my LLM, what have my closers changed? What have my setters changed? What do we need to improve upon? What do we need to dial in on our sales process to get better results, right? This is another prediction that I have. GHL is most likely going to win voice and text AI. I think this is really important to understand. This is really important to understand, especially as we're adjusting into AI. GHL will most likely win the race on AI voice and text. The reason why is because they control the CRM. So even if you use Retail or Vappy, you still have to use ChatGPT or a GHL on top of that, right? You have to connect it into your CRM. So this is extremely important to understand, right? And ChatGPT, if you guys didn't know, is doing a direct integration with Retail. So their voice AI is gonna get a huge improvement. Right now, their voice and text kind of sucks, but it's gonna be significantly easier. The voice AI, the text AI, it's only gonna get easier, guys. Agentic AI is only gonna get easier. Pretty soon you go into ChatGPT and you say, build me a voice AI for this dentist, here's their information. And it'll go and build it all for you. It's gonna be absolutely insane. Another prediction is that all setters will be gone in the next 12 months. Montel, you're cooked, brother. I'm sorry. Sorry, we're gonna have to replace you. No, I'm just kidding. So this is a big thing. I really think all setters will probably be gone in about 12 months, right? There's still a need for closers. I'm not gonna buy anytime soon. I'm not gonna give an AI $5,000. I'm probably not gonna do it anytime soon. So there is a need for AI closers or human closers, but AI setters for B2B are gonna be. Another thing too is you gotta make sure right now to prepare for that you have a Pointwise or some close bot or GHL bot in your actual B2B. It's amazing how many of you guys set up voice and text for your clients and then never set it up for yourself. which if you think about it is really going to drive you more revenue than even setting it up for your clients, which is interesting. So everybody needs to have B2B for your agency, some kind of a point wise, and then some kind of call tool like AI SDR. I'm building ours out in retail right now. We've tested it. It's really good. It's probably going to go and scale here in the next week or two. I'm very excited about it. I've been aggressively testing this because I didn't want to put some garbage. Now, when you drop an AI SDR, I'll tell you right now, it's not going to replace your setters immediately. It's an add-on. It's a nice additionary tool, right? It's an add-on. It's not going to replace your setters right away, but it's a nice thing. Like, it guarantees call times within 5 minutes, right? And most time, it helps with the education process. When you're selling AI, most of your sales calls, you guys have noticed, have turned into education calls. We got to explain what the AI does and all the features and really get them integrated with AI. And what that AI SDR does is you take all your commonly asked questions on your intros and feed it to the AI SDR, and they can ask all the AI all those dumb questions. And then when they hop on with you, it's a sales call. It's not an education call. So in summary of what we're talking about, the biggest things to focus on is you really need to feed AI as much context as humanly possible. You need to crack AI creative at scale, right? So I want to feed AI as much info as possible. I want to crack AI creative at scale, so good quality AI at scale. And I want to start using agentic AI, which is most likely going to be ChatGPT browser for most people. And most importantly, over everything that we mentioned, choose the right strategy, choose the right vehicle, choose the right opportunity, and really properly execute. AI is the biggest opportunity of our entire lives. I don't think we will ever have an opportunity this size for the rest of our lives. So the question is, it isn't whether AI will change everything. You know it's going to change everything. It's whether you will be ready. So those who act in the next 90 days will dominate in the next 10 years. And the future belongs to those who prepare for it today, right now. So which future will you choose so you're not left behind in the AI revolution? Thanks, guys. That was my time.